But, ein malasot. Okay. I would like to restart the last class where we started the first class. And this is one of the ways you can see your development. I would like everybody to put themselves in a relaxed space and close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to do something that you might have a hisnagdus to, but I would say trust me. Okay? Every one of us has able to be felt their sexual energy inside of them. Every one of us has felt that. I want you to, like we did in the first class, but not so much from a place of intellect, but actually from a place of listening to that desire in a deep way, let it run through your being. And I want you to feel where that desire wants to take you in your life. And now maybe the question will be clearer. In other words, what does it want for you to accomplish, to do, to experience? What will it feel? Satisfied, pleasure. We know sexual energy brings a person to a lot of pleasure, but the pleasure can come from a lot of facets. I want you to let it, where does it want to go that will make your life, wow, I have a life of satisfaction. And when you feel like you have it, I want you to write it down. And I hope that you have written down the first class that you had. Without looking at that, write this down. When you're ready, let me know. Moshe, you ready? If you look at the structure of the shiurim,
For me, it's very hard to pinpoint something. Like if point something, like if think of a few different feelings, but not.
well, it isn't pinpointed on something. That's one of the things that I want to bring out for you. If we look at the structure of the shiurim, right, in the beginning, I asked you to define your desire. And people said some interesting things about different midos that were all become very clear. And then we started moving along and seeing what happens when people have a desire for an experience, what's going on inside of their feelings and their needs. And a lot of different needs came up. The needs for love, the needs for accomplishment, the needs for pleasure, the needs for energy release. And what I want you to get in touch with is that this power inside of you, which is the koach of, really the koach of creation, is actually a power that is much more involved in your life than just when you're experiencing zivug. It's actually something which is your energy. When a person masturbates and they feel like they have no energy left, it's because all of that energy went nowhere. Whereas a person would direct that energy, even if it would be there was no woman to receive it. But can you imagine a life where that energy was pumping forward in you and drew you to do things in your life like be loving, be creating, looking for experiences of pleasure, being powerful? It's the same energy. It just has one expression in that it also gives you the ability to connect to a woman. But even when you're connecting to a woman, there's all kinds of midos that are inherent to that power, that energy, that are more inherent to it than the actual experience of connecting to a woman. It's one of the understandings what it says in the Zohar HaKadosh, that when Anshe Knesset Gedolah wanted to take away the taiva for taivas nashim, then it said that in the Zohar that they were going to take away chedvus of the shmaitza, the enjoyment of a sugya. The whole power of a man to conquer, to create, to take over, comes from the warrior energy, the same energy. So I just want you to get in touch with that energy more and more in your life from a positive place, that it isn't something that we have to run away from and only use in a very small place and control. It's actually something to harness. And that's why it's there from a very young age, not because a person is supposed to necessarily have a sexual relationship when they're 13 years old, but they are supposed to live that life, their life from that energy. And supposed to use that energy to create all kinds of amazing things in their life. And when a person feels empty and looks for some kind of satisfaction, they are actually a lack of creation of all the different midos we discussed. And all of those are important.
Right. I hear.
Does anybody not understand what I'm saying?
Me.
Okay, so let me explain a little bit so we can get some clarity.
So, I wrote down some things, but it wasn't much to do with creation. You could say, in a kind of esoteric sense, that there is a sense of creation in what I wrote down, but it's not so literal, or it's not so geared towards a creative anhaga, hitnahagut, right? And I don't understand so much how, let's say in the case of a 13-year-old, if a 13-year-old, like, let's put it this way, you asked that we bring up our sexual energy, right? Now, in the case of a 13-year-old, he is becoming sexually aware, and he's getting turned on, let's say, right? Like sexually, and he's got sexual energy, and I don't understand so much how that energy can be made, can be varied into that wide of a variety. I don't know how it can be channeled into such a wide kind of, like, something so far away from the actual sexual act. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's one of the things that I'm trying to get in touch. You get in touch with yourself the entire time. If you listen to yourself, you'll notice that, first of all, the impetus that turns you on is not necessarily going to be something physical. It's something in your life that feels empty, that needs to be fulfilled. Okay, so the source of the desire, the hisorus, does not come from a place of physical, just looking at a physical body. And if you have the physical experience and you don't have that satisfaction, you feel empty afterwards.
Of course.
So now, what that can, if you allow yourself to teach you, just think about sexual energy as a power that can bring you to incredible bliss and happiness, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to bring your life to incredible bliss and happiness. There's a lot of ways that can happen. You can use sexual energy in the middle of Hilchas Nida. It's a reason why you enjoy walking in the park together. It doesn't mean you're turned on can do a certain action. It means you're enjoying that presence. It could also be the power that a person says, I'm going to do something. I have a lot of strength in me. I'm going to do something really, really important to me. Persevere. And I'm going to make this happen. Because there's a lot of gvura in zivug, which is really an expression of gvuras anashim.
Gvurasa?
Anashim. A warrior needs a woman much more than a person who's not warrior, because he's using that energy. That's why in wars, there's all kinds of... I said a warrior needs a woman more than another person because he's using all of that energy more, so it comes out, it's more expression to it. But it's the same energy. The energy he uses to fight is the same energy he used to connect. It's a very broad energy. And we, as a society, block it, give it negative connotations, and put it in a very mitzuntzam place, a physical expression, and then when it comes out of our nose and our ears, and we're saying, oh no, we have a problem. No, let it go all over the place. It's supposed to be the core of looking for accomplishment, the core looking for love, the core looking for pleasure, the core looking for power, looking for physical expression.
Right, so it's the sum of everything that I want in the relationship, and that's why I get turned on even sexually because of what I'm looking for in the relationship. Because as we know, that we do feel empty after just a purely physical experience, and we do want more than that, and we want emotional connection and all of those, and all of the attributes and all of the love and all of the midot that we want, right? Including the love and everything, right? And our sense of power and feeling wanted. So it's the sum of all of that, as opposed to just the physical experience. And that is where the sexual energy, even of, let's say, a 13-year-old, can be channeled outside of the purely physical sexual act itself.
Correct. And you will not be successful in making a real zivug unless these midos are developed. a zivug that is based on purely physical will actually technically not function. I can't tell you how many people tell me that their wife is not interested in connection to them, because in order for a woman to be interested in zivug, all of these midos have to be in place. Right? She
interested in the sexual. You're saying interested in the
she
physical
wants she wants a connective experience, not just you going to do something. Are we one? Are we doing something? Are we feeling each other now? Are you with me? Where are your energy towards me, caring about me? Are you going at my pace? Are you trying to go somewhere, or are you trying to be connected? All of these are energies inside of us that we need to develop way before we get married. And that's why our insides are feeling empty when we are not having those experiences. If a person doesn't feel accomplished, they not feel connected to the world, they don't feel people, they're going to feel empty. If you don't feel somebody, you can't have zivug.
So essentially we're the same deep down as the women.
Say that again?
So essentially we are the same as the women deep down.
What I would say it is that the men have an orla, and they have to do, spending a lot of time refining. This is the refinement we're talking about, of getting out of just a klipa version, an external version of physical expression, and getting into a place where it's an energy far deeper about connection, about presence, about strength, about experiencing love, experiencing pleasure, and having all of those energies alive, and then a person can actually have a connective experience with a woman. A woman doesn't need these tikkunim because she's just there.
She's got it all already. That's already at the forefront for her. Whereas for us, we have to dig down and work on it and get it that way, right?
That's what it means to me. Osani kirtzono, the bracha for Osani kirtzono means that she's already done, like he wanted it.
Right.
Okay, so the reason why masturbation is so destructive is because all of this energy goes nowhere. And the reason why people feel like they need to masturbate is because they didn't put the energy anywhere. So if we are allowing ourselves to get in touch with this energy and not running away from it and not saying, oh, that's terrible, I'm turned on now, I must be a Russia, I don't have a wife here, right? Well, 1 second, just be alive. Hashem created her to be alive. What are you going to do with all this energy now? Well, there's lots of positive things for me to do with this energy, right? And that actual expression of me looking at that woman who's not mine and getting all turned on and having nowhere to go, that's actually pretty not positive. So why would I do that? That's what we're talking about, bechira. Choosing to use these energies in a way that serve you. How do they serve you? They make you into a full-fledged person. They make you good. They make you caring. They make you loving. They make you accomplished. They make you powerful. As opposed to doing things that just make you selfish, empty, not caring, didn't do anything of value. So the bechira, once you get deep understanding your own energy, the level of bechira that you can have in your choices becomes very, very big. It becomes, wow, I really understand how this energy develops me, what it's there for, what do I want with it, and that will actually just destroy me. I don't want it. And the more a person becomes in touch with themselves, allow themselves, trust themselves, be alive, the more bechira they'll have. Does anybody have any questions so far on what I just said? Okay, great. Now, this process is a lifelong process. A lot of people come to me and they want me to solve their porn problems, they want me to solve their masturbation problems, and while I very much believe in goals, I think that the understanding of the process, of what the process is meant to be, is extremely important before you start setting these goals. How are we supposed to look at the experiences of the end of the day when we're in this process, when someone does look at destructive stuff. And when someone does masturbate, how are we supposed to deal with that experience? And I can tell you that this is probably the most problematic thing that I've ever had in my life, this topic. And a person who masters this will be a master of growth. When we do something that is against what we want, what we call a mistake or a bad decision, there are two ways we can approach it. One way that I find very easy is to feel very bad about myself that I did that. And to put a lot of negative energy on, I can't, this shouldn't have happened, it's so bad, it's so wrong, oh my God, it's terrible, no way, this couldn't have happened. Beat yourself up. What do you think happens to a person when they do that? I'm sure you've all experienced it many times in your life. What happens to you?
You're depressed or you're meyaish, you give up.
All of the energy in the experience is directed at self-destruction. There's energy. Something happened. You're looking at it. And you have an experience of negativity. Right? You see, no, that I don't want that. But all of the energy is now, you can choose where it's going to go. Is it going to go on attacking myself? Or is it going to go in changing my choices? The future. Like, wow, that hurt. I am for sure not doing that again. And then it's all focused on where you want to go. It's not even about the past. Yeah, it happened. Okay, so what? What's important is that now the past will create the future. So all of your energy is going on, okay, so now let's make a better choice this time, because I remember how much that hurt. As opposed to totally focused on the past and spending all of your time in the fact that it happened and all of your energy about feeling bad, all it does is a fake sense of actually doing something. If you really want to feel it, it's easy to feel it when there's someone else involved. Let's say, for example, Aaron, right? Aaron, I did something to you and I insulted you. Okay, Aaron? And Aaron tells me, wow, Yisrael, that really hurt. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. I can't believe it. Oh, I can't believe I did that. And it's so bad. Oh. Now, does Aaron feel anything from that? Does Aaron benefit the fact that I'm reading myself alive? Let's say I would say, Aaron, wow, I get it. That must have really bothered you. I'm really sorry that hurt you. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again. Now, all of the energy is focused on Aaron. It's not about me. It's about the thing that happened with Aaron. And now I can fix it with Aaron. So the same thing is true about your own mistakes. If you start focusing on who you are from this mistake, oh my God, I can't believe I did this, I'm so bad, you're talking about your own self-degradation, then nothing happened because the actual decision doesn't change. The only thing that happened was that you now have a pain in your heart and you're beating yourself up. So what that means is there's a because their seriousness is only as much as if you stay in that space. But if they're used to change your choices of the future, big... Okay, yeah, right, I made a mistake. I did something wrong. I chose wrong. Okay. So what do we get from that? The whole point is what you got from that. The whole point of the pain, what's called regret, remorse, is only an engine for creating new choices. And then it becomes tshuva me'ava, if you want to say that it comes that the chet itself helped the tikkun. And And this is a huge way of living the life differently. How much do you freak out when you make a mistake, and how much you're like, yeah, okay, what do I get wrong? What do I do now? It's a life-changing thing. The person who freaks out does not change. Because they're so busy spending all this energy on feeling bad, and then in order to survive, they're going to have to figure out how to feel good. Nothing's going to happen besides good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, but no change. Whereas if you focus on your energy, I don't care, good, bad, I'm good, amazing, you're amazing, incredible. But there's something that in your life that needs to be fixed now, and this hurt, so you want to fix it? Yes, I want to fix it. No drama. The more drama there is, the less growth there is. Charata doesn't come from a place of drama. It comes from a very deep place inside of yourself. It's like, oh, I'm not doing that. It's a conviction that has a painful energy to it, but it's quiet and powerful. You should feel good when you have regret, because you're empowered to have a good life. Tshuva is not a destructive thing. It's a building thing. It's coming back. So what I mean to say is that there's a process from a 13-year-old or younger at this point till the time you're 100 years, 101 years old, leave this world. And all that is a process of developing this energy inside, taking off the klipa, taking off the external version of it, which is super. It with this core source of your Tzelem Elohim, which does incredible things. And the process is basically always built on choices. What did I gain from this? What did I learn from this? Was it good? Did I enjoy it? Did I have pain? What was it? Oh, I learned this wasn't a good decision? Okay, so now I'm more refined. There's a calmness and a yeah. And this also allows you to make choices. Some societies are so scared of making a mistake that we do all kinds of measures to make sure no one ever makes a mistake, and then they end up happening not learning anything. But what's the big deal? Yes, someone's going to make a mistake. And therefore what? That's it, they're done? They're going to make a bad choice. Yeah, that young boy and girl might sleep together. They really might do it. It's true. Okay, then what's going to happen? They'll learn something. Why are we so freaking out?
I just asked yourself, sorry, the age 13, 14, 15, let's say, where they're already younger even now, where they're sexually aware, they're watching porn, and yet
they're sexually active.
Maturity, what's that?
And they're sexually active.
They're sexually active, but their seichel hasn't quite yet kind of gotten up to speed, let's call it. So for those years, because what I hear you saying seems to be more addressed to someone who's already ready to process, to think about himself, have a certain amount of self-reflection. I'm just curious how, and I'm sure you talk to, people of this younger age. How do you give that message over to them? What's the nusach for them that they can hear it? I feel like I'm just repeating a question that was asked before. I think that Yaakov was speaking about that, of how that age. But it seems like this is more for understanding them. That you kind of need a self-understanding, and I'm just not sure how you address that with the younger ages.
Okay, so it's really the same concept, which is that if you're thinking that a person who's 13 years old, it's a chiddush that he's sexually aware and sexually active, and he lacks the maturity of sexuality. That's incorrect. In other words, what happens is the age got younger, but the experiences are the same. They're going to be feeling the same things, wanting the same things. There's going to be a level of maturity that those kids will have that they didn't have 20 years ago. So you actually can talk to them about these things because the maturity comes from the desire itself. It doesn't come from an external source. It's a knowledge within. If a 13-year-old is taking a girl, he wants to be powerful. He wants to be successful. He wants love. That's what he's doing. Maybe he's not aware of it completely because he is more easily determined by the physical, but he can articulate, wait, how did it feel afterwards? What was good about it? What was not good about it? As much as a 19-year-old can.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
What changed nowadays? Did people become mature at a younger age, or can actually a woman ignite this desire to succeed?
The last few words I did not understand. A woman could desire. What does that even mean?
No, I'm saying, is how could it be that a woman could ignite this desire to succeed? What's happening over there? Is a person being mature at a younger age, or is a woman turning on this natural desire for him to succeed? What's pushing this desire to start at such a young age?
The world is exposing younger people very strongly to this desire. Now without choosing it, they are going to have these things running through their body because they've been prodded and exposed. So now it's going to be there. On other ages, it was less exposure, so they went into it in a natural state. Now we're being exposed to it at a very young age, and they're more aware of it. So they just started earlier. Did that answer your question? I'm not sure. Maybe I misunderstood the question.
Maybe I'll ask you later. I wasn't... Okay, it's okay.
Okay, but I'm also...
Because I was wondering, how could a woman ignite this desire? If it's a desire which comes from a mature place to succeed, what's it got to do with the amount of exposure?
I'm not sure what you mean, because in any time there's an exposure to a woman and he's attracted to a woman, what he wants to do within that context is be successful in that relationship. It isn't possible for a person to desire a woman and not want to be successful. There's no such thing.
I see.
It's also not possible to not want love. It doesn't go again. That is what that desire is. In other words, if you would take the success out of the experience and all the love out of the experience, it would be completely clear to that person that that wouldn't happen. They wouldn't want it.
I understand.
So, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to bring over the entire time is the topic of bris, the topic of tikkun bris, is because the desire is about bris. It's not about a physical act. The physical acts, we are not just physical beings, right? We're human beings. We're spiritual beings in a human body. So none of us can actually have experiences that are just kol kulo physical. We don't care. We're always going to be doing something greater and larger, and therefore our decisions, our needs and our decisions, why we make choices and the needs we need to satisfy are greater and bigger than all of the physical things that we're talking about. So in order to keep context, it's number one important to not be impacted by making wrong choices. Making wrong choices, all it is a learning experience. The difference between the right choice and the wrong choice is the wrong choice hurts more than the right choice, but they all go to the same place. Unless you don't participate, unless you're not aware. But if you're paying attention and you're learning, and you say, well, okay, you know what? That really hurt. What did I learn from that? You're totally fine. Even if lechatchila you're going to say, you know what, I really want this. And I don't really feel like fighting this desire now. I'm going to do it. And I'll make the decision, and when I finish, I'll learn from it. That is totally lechatchila way of living the world. People have a pirush in the Gemara which is wrong. They say echta v'ashuv is not tshuva. It's not true. The Gemara says echta v'ashuv ve'echte v'ashuv. He does it twice. Ein maspikin biyado. But if he does it once, it's like, you know what? I really want to do this now. I really think this is good for me. I know Hashem says not to do it, but I want to do it anyway. I'm going to do it and see the consequences. That's a way of learning. It'll hurt. You're going to see the consequences. But you might actually decide to do it that way in order to learn.
Mishnah only says it once, I think, no?
Mm-mm.
No? Well, okay.
Bring a safer and we'll see.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
you touched on this briefly, on why is it called Shomer Brit. Is it that it is directly related with our Brit, with our covenant with Hashem, or is it that having deficiency on this is diminishing our ability to make commitments or to do covenants, to have commitment with others?
It's all the same.
Is that related?
It's all the same because the midos of your ability to harness the power you have inside of yourself for the point of making connections, for the point of making loving connections, the point of being things that are serving you to do something greater, those are the same midos that you need in every part of a relationship, whether it's between you and yourself, whether it's between you and your wife, whether it's between you and Hashem. It's how you deal with your own power inside. What's the point? Is it just a physical experience, or there's more going on that develops you as a full-fledged human being?
So at its core, is that the ability to give love and receive love in any of those relationships? Is that the core?
You can definitely put it very simply, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, but I think that when you get into the details, it has a lot to do with your choices. It has a lot to do with the choices of what do you want to develop in yourself, right? When you look at a woman who's not yours and you spend time enjoying her, and you have all of your desires going absolutely nowhere, what's that going to do to you? It's going to teach you that this person is there to serve you. You're not using this desire to connect, right? It's only a way of using someone else's body for your pleasure. So it's not only about love, it's about the choices you make that build the midos of love. So it's really about choices. When you're shomer bris means to say that the decisions you make refine your midos, then now you have all of your kalim built to make a perfect union, make a perfect connection. The person who works on himself in this way and develops himself and learns from himself what he needs from the age of 13 to the age when he's starting to get married will be ready to be bezilug with his wife. If he doesn't, all of the issues that he'll come up with that he didn't deal with when he was 13, 14, 15, 16 will come up in the middle of his zivug throughout his rest of his life.
Rabbi, please,
What's zivug? What's zivug?
Sex.
Rabbi, please can you repeat that one point once more? Sorry. The 13-year-old is just once more.
I said all of these desires that we all have as 13 years old. Okay, there's a lot of ways we can use them to serve us, to build us, to make us into who we are. The choices we make are choices that create our inner working, inner being. Make us connective beings or disconnective beings. Selfish beings or loving beings. Committed beings or not committed beings. Those midos, if you have them in place, when you have an intimate relationship with a woman, the relationship will flow beautifully and you'll have a wonderful, happy, satisfying, successful connection. If you don't have that, then you're going to have a lot of strife, a lot of pain, a lot of disconnect, and you'll have the most beautiful woman in the world in your bed and you won't be able to connect. And all stuff... What?
How's the kid gonna know? Like, when I was a kid, I started masturbating at 11 years old, alright? That was like, I think in my time it was considered early. And how was that, like, how is a kid kid to know? Because I wouldn't have thought of any of what you just said.
How is the kid to
and
know?
It only hit me during marriage. I didn't get hadracha. You're saying he just needs hadracha, basically. So,
How is a kid to know when they have parents?
And
Parents are supposed to teach our children midos. So they're supposed to teach our children, there's a power inside of you. What are you going to use it to develop yourself? Are you going to use it to be a selfish person or a giving person, a loving person? Are you going to use it to power to your accomplishments? Are you going to do it to not take responsibility and do things that are destructive?
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's not complicated. The reason why
responsibility.
the reason why parents don't do this is because they actually believe that it's the entirety of a physical desire. And they're like, well, I can't talk to my kid about this physical desire because he can't use it anyway, so we gotta not talk about it because, oh no, he might actually use it. And we leave the entire sugya out, which means we just reinforce all of these things, that it's a physical act, which is supposed to be dormant until a person gets married. Then when a person gets married, this completely unrefined energy comes out. Rachmanas on that poor woman, right? And then we have this marriage. It looks like it looks, because there was no chinuch when he was 13. What were you saying, Marcos?
Yes,
What's
Rabbi.
chinuch? What's chinuch?
Teaching.
Do we hold the responsibility to do this this education to our children? If so, like how early on, and is it appropriate, like, for schools to assume that responsibility for parents that are not doing that properly?
So you're asking my opinion.
I guess so. Yes. I mean, I'm not a parent, so it's just more thinking about maybe your general opinion on the subject, but also thinking of the future, like how
It is
how have those conversations when, and what should school be doing? What should schools be doing?
It is absolutely incumbent on a parent to teach their children to have good midos, and absolutely incumbent on a parent to teach their children how to be a married person, not a selfish behemoth. And it is absolutely incumbent on a parent to deal with the fact that their children are exposed to these things from the early ages, somewhere between 4 and 8. And there's absolutely no reason why a parent should be scared of doing this, because if they don't, anything they don't want their children to know, they're going to know better than the parents. Is it the school's responsibility to take the parents when the parents don't do their job? I don't know. That's kind of a big judgment on schools. Is it a responsibility of the schools to do this chinuch also? Yes. Because it also comes up in school. Are we failing miserably as a kehila? F-. And I'll tell you, I'm a person who goes around and I discuss with mechanchim. I discuss with schools. Let me teach you this in these schools. And the response I usually get is, what's your haskama?
What's that?
Who gives you the right to talk about these topics? Who are you? And b'chol anava sheba'olam, but I don't know if the people who are supposed to give haskamas understand this desire in this way. They also might think it's a physical thing. But it doesn't make any difference. What boggles my mind, I can never understand this, is why they think that they're waiting for Mashiach to come, or God himself to give this is a good way of teaching, and instead they allow their children to be taught by the worst sitra achor, the worst most terrible thing of the pornography industry, is teaching their children all day long, and they don't want to let somebody like me, because who knows, maybe it's not perfectly holy. That I never understood. I will never understand that, and I just give up.
Basically, every direction from the South Pole is north, so they should understand your thing, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Rabbi, two things. One, just thanks for everybody for bearing with me for my just definitional questions. I'm going to have a lot of them because I don't don't know so much Hebrew. So thank you all for bearing with me. That's one. Two is it seems to me that the point you're making is that the physical desires for a 13-year-old have the same underlying influence from midot as a 25, 40, 60-year-old.
Yes.
So we should start educating sooner.
Yes.
And they're also saying that there's resistance towards educating in the physical for a 13-year-old for whatever reasons. But if the root issue isn't actually physical at all, and the root issue is actually having to do with midot, why even talk about physical? Why not educate 13-year-olds on midot? And then you'll have, if you really are solving the root cause, wouldn't we also have the benefit in the physical as well?
That's always what I tell parents. They don't want to talk to their kids about pornography. They don't want to say, oh, you saw this on the screen, and what is this thing? You don't have to. You don't have to. You talk about how a man should treat a woman. And anything that's not like that, how does that make you feel? Do you want to be like that person? The details are totally, completely irrelevant. There is no parent who doesn't want to teach their children these topics. No one. They all want to teach their children to be loving, respectful, caring human beings. Every parent wants that.
So does that basically translate into even that we can apply to ourselves, never mind to education, but also to ourselves, that if we have, if we're turned on by something, if our libido is running high, right, then to, let's say, clear up your room if it's in a mess, or to get yourself the shoes that you've been needing and you haven't been and you've been pushing that off because of just procrastination.
Yes.
Then that is the way to directly deal with your libido.
Yes, your energy wants to go somewhere. That's why I said exercise is an expression of that. Your energy wants to do something, create something. You're going to notice if you feel like it did nothing today, right? You're going to have a lot of sexual energy because you did nothing. It wants to create.
Right, but not only even just to fill the that energy with an action in order to expend it, but also it would be directly addressing the libido, because the midot that you develop by getting those shoes or cleaning that room that you need to clear up because you need a good environment around you is teaching you how to be loving to your wife and creating a good zivug, therefore good sex, and therefore your libido is sorted.
Yeah, you're saying it in a very heady way. Just feel it. You have a lot of energy, and then you go, okay, and you go do stuff. You're gonna see it goes. It's expended.
Got it.
Okay. Now, there's a huge point in midot that is the core of, it's an extension of the thing I spoke about before about not being negative on mistakes, but it's even a deeper concept. If you want to say it in a psychological way, wherever your consciousness is, that's what you're going to create. So, for example, if we talked about the need for love and the need for accomplishment, right? When we have a desire for something that hasn't been manifested yet, there are two ways to come in touch with that desire, right? One is, oh my, I didn't yet do this. And there's a feeling of lack. There's a feeling of sadness. There's a feeling of frustration. Low vibrational feelings. And there's another feeling of, oh, let's go do this. Let's put it in a very simple terms, right? Everybody can relate to this. Everybody in this room probably has something they want monetarily. Right? Okay, there's two ways you can relate to that. One way is, I don't have this. I can't have this. I wish I could have this. One is, I really want this, and I'm going to get it. The only thing that shifted is your mind. Are you focusing on the positive goal, or are you focusing on the lack? When you realize how much your belief system impacts what happens, you're going to realize how important it is in this topic of Tikkun Habris that all the things you desire, that you phrase them in your mind and your consciousness in your mind as a positive way. I want love. I'm going to get love. I need love. I'm going to get it. It's for sure there. I gotta go find it. I really wish I could have love. I'm missing so much love. How you phrase things in your mind, how you talk to yourself, is what builds your belief system. When a person believes that they have a lot of lack, they'll experience always a lot of lack. When a person feels a lot of lack, they're going to feel a lot of desire to have that lack be separate and come out, and they're going to be all kinds of milchamas inside of this desire going crazy. If they feel satisfied, they are in a good process, they believe it's going to happen, then it does happen. So a huge part of being in a state of well-being, in a state of using your desires positively, is your belief system. How positive you are. How much you're thinking that it's going to happen. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world b'machshava. Also b'machshava, and afterwards yad dibur. Your machshava is the first place where creation happens. Your belief system is where creation really happens. Your choices come in your belief system. So a huge part of creating the actions that choose positive expressions of your desire goes way before that. It goes into your belief system about what is going to happen. And everybody can notice this in themselves, right? There are days where you're feeling very bad about yourself, things are going really rotten inside of yourself, and you probably have a very difficult time with Shmiras Habris. The days where you're assuming things are going to be good, and you're in a happy mood, you don't have such problems, because your desires are not freaking out. So a huge part of the success in this process is what actually is one of the main kavanos of tefillah, that if we use tefillah in the way that it is meant, to put ourselves in a mindset of the experiencing the tovas that Hashem does, the bitachon that Hashem is tov and the world is tov, and He's going to mashpia shefa tov, that itself solves a huge amount of the problems. Because the things that we need, we feel we're going to get. And we don't feel this incredible power, this incredible war going on. So if you're not successful in davening the way that they intended, and instead we go like this, blah, 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 and we leave empty, then you're going to have to do artificial ways of doing it, which is what people are using meditation for nowadays, to put yourself in a mindset of experiencing what is the potential of your life. Let me say it to you in a different nusach that may be a little clearer. How do we know what's going to happen in the future? So the principal way that people decide what's going to happen in the future is based on the past. I'm used to experiencing things a certain way, and therefore I'm going to assume they continue. Which means if you've had a bad experience in your life, naturally you're going to assume that it's going to happen again. And you know what? It's going to. Because if you assume it's going to happen, it'll happen. In order for you to create a different reality in the future, you need to break the pattern of the past. How would you do that? You would do that by dictating the future. Assuming, looking in the future and saying, it's not going to be that way, it's going to be that way. Then what happens is you take from the future into the present. This is why believing emunah is such a powerful thing. You know, all these ma'asim of tzaddikim, where the chasidim or whatever it is, believe something and then it happened. I knew somebody who was very close to Rabbi Abba Shaul, and he was a Baal Moifis, an insane Baal Moifis. He would do all kinds of crazy stuff. And he used to say to them, it's not me. It's your power of belief. And people thought that it's a whole thing with tzaddikim. It's nothing to do with tzaddikim. It has to do with emunah. You can have the same thing going on by Christians also. If people believe things, they become real. You have the power to believe, to manifest in your life all of the good that you want. If you allow your Yetzirah, if you allow yourself to look at the past and the failings of the past and the negativity of the past, all of the ways the desires were not met, and you let that dictate how your life feels, right? If you feel bad, you think bad, you feel bad, then you're going to have bad happen. But if you control your thoughts and you control your feelings by looking in the future in a positive way, which has a lot to do with emunah in Hashem, then you will change your thoughts, you will change your feelings, and your future, where your body is at, will change. You can actually scientifically test this. People's brain waves change when their thinking changes. Their whole brain opens up in a totally different way. Energy flows and things heal just because they change their thoughts from a positive thought to a negative, from a negative thought to a positive thought. From a positive feeling, which is a derivative of a thought, from a negative feeling to a positive feeling. Right? Just think about it for a second. If you walk around, you're feeling the war and you're feeling all the things you did wrong and all the negative things. How do you feel inside? You feel like you're going to go take over the world now? But you think about all the possibilities and all the money you're going to make and all of the beautiful woman you're going to have and the amazing family you're going to have and all the accomplishments and well, you're ready to take over the world. Right? Who decided how you're going to think? You. Yes, Marcos.
So just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, Rabbi. I think it's very powerful, and I think it's advice outside of just Shomer Brit.
Oh, for sure.
What we're saying is, if we're, and maybe I'm going a step further, but if really all of our joy, our life really lies in the present, and our present is very much dictated and affected by our speculation and our vision of the future, we can fall into the default form of just go with the default stipulation of the future based on the past, or we can at any time just break that and choose to envision the best possible thing ahead of you through bitachon and emunah and prayer and awareness. But if you choose to do that, you can very much not only have manifest what that future is going to happen, but in the present tense, at a minimum, you'll behave and act in a way that's way more in line with what your goals are, and it is full of simcha. If you're not necessarily speculating the past into the future, but just rewriting that future in your mind.
Right, and it's actually, practically speaking, that you will create that future in a very simple way. Because when your body's in that space, with your thoughts and your feelings, you're going to act like that and you're going to make it happen. And if you don't, you won't have the energy to do that. So in terms of Tikkun Habris, notice when you're in a bad state and you're struggling, it's like, wait, I feel empty, I feel like I need something negative. Notice what you're believing about your life, what you're thinking about your future, what you're thinking about your present. That shift can make everything different.
Are we saying this is an obstacle? Like you cannot achieve that if you do not tikkun, if you don't stop masturbating? Like, is that a necessary thing, or is just the mindset that gets you in, which you can, in theory, not go through without doing the actual tikkun, without keeping shomer brit?
I think you need to repeat that because I don't think I got it.
Sorry. What I was trying to ask is if we're saying shomer brit is an obstacle to getting to this mindset, or rather that if you're keeping your body in line, you have the potential to achieve this mindset. Are we saying that if you don't stop keeping shomer brit, then you cannot get there? You cannot speculate about the future without being guided
No, I didn't say that. I said that a person would, if their person is in a good state and their desires are being met in their mind, there's nothing missing. Energy is because they're looking for a specific experience because they feel they're lacking. But if they don't feel they're lacking, they won't go there.
Thanks.
Just 1 second.
Hola, Menachem.
¿Qué onda, Marco? ¿Estás en tu casa?
I'm at Elian's cousin's house. In the back. It's just...
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Had some technical issues over here. Okay, now, in light of that idea, I would like to do something now to close off this experience, which I have found to be a very powerful experience, but not only a way of closing off this limud, but also a way of teaching you how you can consistently do this in your life on a day-to-day level, which is after you understand about being self-aware and after you understand about the choices, this is a very powerful way to facilitate you making those choices about your desires. So what we're going to do is a little meditation, and the purpose of this meditation is, if you look at the entire process that we did in this year, was we spoke about what your desire is. And as we learned more and more, if you wrote things down, you'll probably see it got more refined and more refined and more refined. And now you have the ability to manifest, to picture a full expression of that desire in a way that you wouldn't have been able to 6 weeks ago. So what I'm going to allow you to do is a platform in which you're going to allow your soul to project an image of this expression of your desire. And the reason why an image is so important is because the place where a human being is not only in thoughts. We are not just thinking beings. We also have bodies. The more our thoughts translate to the reality at hand, the more they become something which is real. And the more that they actually translate into dictating what's going on with me in the present. So it's not enough when I say believe, it's just a mind game, but actually what we're going to attempt to do is bring that consciousness of that mind, of those desires, of those expressions, into a reality, that a place where you can actually feel it. You can feel it in imagination, and to the degree that you're able to imagine in a deeper way, it'll even express itself in emotions. Just like when you go to a movie. If you ever went to a movie, and there is some plot in that movie, people can cry in the middle of a movie. There's nothing there. It's literally fiction. It's just a bunch of dots on a wall. But we, with our experiences, can have all kinds of feelings and emotions when something is, because we put our mantra, wherever your mashpia are, that's where you are. So what I'd like to take you on a trip is to put your mashpia in a place, a full expression of your desires, in a way that you actually can picture it, feel it, touch it, smell it, know it. And what I would encourage you to do is I'm going to do this with you a little bit now. We don't have so much time left, but I would like to encourage you to try this process yourself consistently about the topic of bris and about other topics too, where you can put all of the full-fledged expression of your shleimus, of your desire, into reality, into the reality of your life today, that your decisions will come forward through that reality. Does anybody not understand what I just said?
Yes. This is probably a pretty important question that leads to a very different understanding of exercise. Are we visualizing our sexual desires or our deeper desires in life?
I'm going to lead the meditation, so you'll see where I'm going to take it.
Okay.
Okay?
But I desire, I don't know.
But in terms of your own practices, in terms of your own places to go, right? You'll make your own decisions, exactly what you think you need to do, right, in order to picture certain things. But you're going to see that not every time you think about something that has to do with a sexual context will it be called a hirhur, which will bring lidei zera levatala. It's not true. Right? Sometimes it actually gets you a lot of clarity about what's really important to you and what you really want and what you are going to manifest. Does that make sense to you?
Not quite. Sometimes getting clarity on what.
Let's say, for example, I'll give you an example. Like people have fantasies. Okay? Fantasies. Now, is that a positive thing or a negative thing?
I'd say neither. Could be positive or negative.
Exactly. Right? So what that is your insights pushing you to envision something which is important to you. You can make it an entire experience which pushes you in a place which ends up bringing you to nowhere, which is destructive, zera levatala, or it can bring you to a place of knowing for sure and creating the future of something really, really important to you. Like, yes, I'm going to make this happen because I really want this. Because it's actually really important to me. It can be empowering. So I'm not right now going to bring you to any physical consciousness of an expression like that, because that isn't what I'm trying to accomplish right now. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you wouldn't want to go there depending on what you need. But you'll notice that your needs will depend on if you're lacking, if you're feeling worried, if you're feeling scared, you have emotions of lack, and those are making you crazy. One of the ways to deal with that is to, without that, to replace them with emotions of having something. How do you do that? Envisioning it. And it will not bring you to a place of negativity, it'll bring you to a place of satisfaction.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Are we saying in the context that the envisioning itself will in turn, quote unquote, manifest, bring about that experience, or is it just a mirror of my own desires?
Well, I have to say, Shalom, you're kind of late, so yeah, I explained it for like 20 minutes.
I apologize.
No problem, but you look at the tape, you'll see.
Okay.
Okay, so, Mechila, Shalom, I just wanted to... yeah, but it's like we were saying, it actually creates it. Okay? Okay, so we don't have a lot of time. It usually takes me about a half hour to do this. We're going to do this as in a shortened version. And the main point is not only to do this, but the main point is to learn how to do this. Okay? So, I'd like everyone to close their eyes. We're going to go on a little bit of a journey. So, close your eyes. Take 2 deep breaths. And as you take deep breaths, you notice where your body is sitting on. Feel your body planted. And you look out in front of you, and you see in front of you your house. Your house that has inside of it your wife, your children, and as you walk towards the front door, you can feel the feelings of excitement and happiness. Happiness to come home to your safe place, to the place you built, to the place that you've created so much love. You open the door and you walk in and hear your wife's beautiful voice greeting you from the kitchen. Such leaps of joy to be wanted so much by a person. When you walk in the house, you exchange a beautiful look. Her beautiful smile greets you. You greet her. Such incredible feelings of gratitude. My house, my wife. You bring to mind all of the different things that you did to create her look. You take a look around. The effort, the energy, the giving. What a feeling of greatness that is. Bring to mind all the things that were challenges. The organization, the resilience, the pressure, conquering your fears to create this beautiful place. And as you walk towards the table and you see your children smiling, greeting you, feeling so safe that their big melech walked in the house. The man they know they can trust to be there for them, to protect them. And you keep walking to your bedroom. Get yourself comfortable. And you walk into the beautiful space in which all of this happens from. The memories, the sensitivity of the loving, the giving, the receiving. How deeply grateful this place means to you. How much happiness, how much energy it gives you. You hear your wife's sweet voice calling you to come to eat, and you walk back and sit down at the table. And think back to all of the things that you had to do to earn this life. The skills, the values, the actions. You feel deeply grateful. Now it's time to take all of those memories and all of those thoughts and write them down. Write down your house, how it looks, the environment, how it smells, how it feels. What's the energy in the room? What was important in that house? What made that house run the way it looked? What are the values? And what were the jobs of the people there? The work, the hard work that they did. Let your soul flow and write it all down. So you know it, so you can feel it, so you can see it. So it's almost 10:30. Usually I like to have people the ability to share, but it's going too late. So I would just encourage every single person in this room. You notice that it was pretty hard for me to get you guys all back. You guys were gone. You can see in the pictures. And I'm sorry I interrupted you. Maybe I shouldn't have. But you can do the same thing. You don't need me. You do this every single day. And every single day that you do this, you create that reality. So and it's a very powerful thing. This is, if you notice in Tefillah, we do this. We say, Ata chonen tamudas, mlamenesh bina chonen mitcha chachma bina v'das, Baruch ata Hashem chonen adas. Wait a minute. You just asked for it, and you're already blessing him that he was chonen hadas. Who said he was chonen hadas? You just asked him. Maybe he's going to say no. It isn't like that. The shefa's all there. It's a question of us connecting to it. When we connect to it, it's there. It'll come. So, really, a huge part of the reason why people feel empty is because they have decided they're empty. And a huge part, like people in this Chabura said, of not believing they're going to get a wife like this, and not believing that when they have a wife like this, they can have these experiences, is all starts with themselves. So I'm going to close this off with this, and I hope that this was a good experience for you. And I want to add that I have become to realize that the next phase that I would open up to do with people on a private level is something that I've seen tremendous success in the last tkufa of my life, where it's a combination of also learning, but also setting goals and manifesting those goals with an accountable system. So if anybody wants to talk to me about continuing this work on a private level, then they should private message me, and we can set up a time to how that would look. Okay? Okay, so now it's exactly 10:30. And
can you give an example of a goal? An example of a goal.
Sure. So let's say that you want to have a certain dynamic. I'm talking to you. So I'll speak to you something which everybody can relate to, but it's more practical to you. Let's say you have a certain dynamic you want to have with your wife that, next time there's something that's brought up, that she brings up something to you that she doesn't like about what you do. So instead of being defensive, you're going to be dealing with it right away and solving the problem, and you're having a loving experience 2 minutes after she was upset. Okay? That's a very defined goal. Right? If you don't make that defined goal, then you might have all kinds of different things that'll come up in your life that you won't be able to set up a very contained action that will define in it a huge midah. Because that midah, by the way, is what includes in it feeling bad about yourself as opposed to actually growing. It has to do with your own self-hate. A lot of things get involved in that. So it's very important to also have internal work. It's also very important to have practical things that contain the asiyah of that growth. Was that example clear? Is that example clear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Some people would take an example of okay, so I'm not feeling good about myself, and instead of watching porn, I clean my room. Okay, that's a practical example, but it's part of an entire system. To bring out, sometimes we just do things. A lot of people do different tasks about avoda in Shmiras Habris, and their whole focus is on that moment. Yes, did I look at the porn or not look at the porn? It can never be in a vacuum. It has to be within an entire system, an entire plan, an entire goals. And as a part of that process, you bring in specific actions. Anybody wants to talk to me about it, we'll talk about it in a private session. Okay? Now, I would like, because we were together for such a long time, I know it's after 10:30 and it's late, I would just like to go around, but really, really katzar v'le'inyan, someone just to share some feeling they have right now about the experience they had.
I can share. The first thing that comes to my mind is like how simple it is to manifest something that you want, or how, I guess, if you're not used to doing it, how far away you think you are from it. Once you start doing it, you said it, like it's practice. The more you do it, the more you see, the more you feel it, the more you see it viscerally, the more you see it vividly, the more you see it, the more you really believe that it's gonna happen, and in a way Hashem guides you towards that. So that's my takeaway. How simple it is to start manifesting. I'm like, and before how far I thought I was, but like now I realize no, it's much closer than I think.
David.
Yeah, I mean that meditation was very interesting to me, just to realize, like, I felt like such an idiot thinking how much I never really have visualized that before. Like, it's like so obvious that, like, well, what do you actually want? Then it's like, well, I've kind of thought about what I actually want, but not like to the actual, like, to the level of detail makes it a lot clearer, I feel like.
You want me to give you a cool exercise?
What?
I'll give you a cool exercise. Want to do this?
Okay.
Write down 100 things that you want in your life.
Okay, 100 things.
100 things you want in your life, good things. It doesn't make a difference. It could be a pair of shoes. 100 things you want in your life, and 100 experiences you want in your life.
Okay. Wait, 200 things.
One's experiential and one's actually a tangible thing.
Okay.
Try doing that and see what happens to you.
Okay.
What's the second thing?
Experiences. Like, for example, going to Uman is an experience. Buying a car is a thing. Okay?
And the first one is writing down things that you want to get.
Yeah, I want to buy. You want a house, you want a car, you want new shoes, you want things for your kids. I challenge you if you can get to 100.
And what's the idea?
The idea is exactly what he just said before. How many of us have never actually decided where we actually want to go? How much of us are living in survival? We're not creating our own reality because we haven't even decided what we want. How many times have we decided, I want my house to look like this? It's like, what, my house is going to look like whatever it looks like. I mean, I got kids, I got a wife, I got this. Roller coaster, right? No. We create our reality.
Well, also I think that what I did here, which I think maybe was, like, I realized afterward, was that I didn't actually think about a lot of the things that I keep thinking about that I don't know what I want. Meaning, like, there's a lot of, I realized I focus a lot on the things that I, like, well, I don't know what I want. Like, okay, like honestly, for me, like, religiously, like, I'm still, like, I'm, like, very, like, in between things, and, like, where, okay, so, like, like, I haven't decided, like, how religious I want to be, or whatever it is. Like, exactly, and what, but, okay, but I just didn't think about those things. It was just, like, but there are a lot of things that I really do know that I do want, that I can focus on, and that I haven't been focusing on because I've been thinking about all the things that I don't have, or that I don't know, or that I, and I feel like if I would have been focusing on those things, like, I probably could have made a lot of progress in a lot of things that are the things that I do know that I want, even, like, regardless of the things that I don't know.
Super clear. Thank you. Who else?
I'm just going to say that, and I have to go, so I think there's a lot of sense that you can trust yourself. There was a strong message over here that all of the messages that we can't trust ourselves and the society and wherever that might be coming from, and there's a very strong sense of like, no, we're good inside, and we can rely on that. So definitely appreciate that. Apologize for both sides, but I'm gonna have to jump. Thank you all very much.
Rabbi, can I share?
Sure.
Finding a system that I can actually work with for the goals I've always had.
יפה. Eitan.
So, yeah, it's just the awesome opportunity we have to create our future and pretty much a plan, a master plan to how to do it. It's just think about it and visualize it and create a reality. So a lot of the times it's you just don't know how to achieve your goals, and every time the first step is simply to visualize it and to realize it. So I had already heard these before, but just to dive it in and to make it real and to really believe in it, it's very important and it's very helpful.
And I also think that if we daven like this, davening would be a nice thing instead of a drag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a new way also of viewing davening. I have that idea of a tachonen. It's also, you can see it Ashibenu or Tzlach Lanu. So it's it will change my davening, I believe. Thank you.
Josh.
Yeah, for me the idea that in one breath in prayer we ask Hashem, and then in the very next we thank Him for giving it to us. That's a very interesting idea. And it's like, is it true? I don't know, but it's certainly more empowering a belief system to hold than it's not happening, because I also, with equal amount of objectivity, don't know if that's true unless I'm dragging the past into my future to make it true. And what's the point of that?
Basically, what's true is what you decided is true. Od hey medabrim vani ene. Shalom. Nice to see you.
You too. First of all, I want to apologize to this chevra. I know that we're in a rocket ship biyachad, and I have been on the move nonstop for quite a few weeks now, and it's been really beautiful and hectic. So first of all, just putting that out. This is awesome chevra, and thank you for holding space. Josh, just on that point, it's really cool because we're not allowed to make a bracha levatala also, right?
What is that? Sorry.
We're not allowed to make a bracha that's like not going to be true or real. So every bracha we make, when we say Hashem is doing all this stuff, we're like really infusing all that full belief that it's actually coming about, or else it would be an untrue bracha levatala. And what I really loved about that meditative space, first of all, I want to hear more recorded meditations from you, Rav. It's awesome. Guided with really a lot of goodness. I really liked the fact that in addition to just like visualizing what will be, they were also, okay, now what are the steps you need to put in place in order to make that happen? It went from a little bit of more of a elusive, cerebral, visionary experience and it became really concretized through practical steps, which was awesome. And also just this notion of yes, there totally will be work, and it totally will be dedication, it totally will be a lot in order to make that happen. But this is part of being a melech. You're providing for your people, you're providing for your family, and a beautiful future will blossom out of it. On that note, I gotta drive my mom to the airport now. So much bracha, atzlacha, guys. May we continue the Or Hanukkah throughout the whole year.
Amen.
Man.
Anybody else want to share something? Okay. It was really wonderful to learn with you, all of you, and I look forward to continuing our conversations on a personal level.
I really enjoyed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, everyone.